Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. Mariusz Błaszczak, the Minister of National Defence, has signed an agreement for the purchase of 250 Abrams tanks for the Polish army. This brings into effect the Minister's decision in July last year to proceed with the purchase. The first 28 tanks, to be used for training purposes, will be delivered to the Polish army later this year, and the completion of deliveries is planned for 2026. A moment ago, I signed an agreement which guarantees the delivery of 250 Abrams tanks in the latest version to the Polish army. Abrams tanks, like the F-35 aircraft ordered in 2020, are the most modern equipment in the world. So we are ordering and buying for the Polish army equipment that is the best. The task of these tanks is to deter a possible aggressor. We are all aware of what is happening beyond our eastern border, so strengthening the Polish army is a task which the government is consistently carrying out in order to deter an aggressor.
Just 2 weeks ago, President Joe Biden visited Poland to show the United States stands in solidarity with our allies and partners during these unprecedented times. Zaledwie 2 tygodnie temu prezydent Joe Biden odwiedził Polskę, aby pokazać, że w tych bezprecedensowych okolicznościach Stany Zjednoczone solidaryzują się z naszymi sojusznikami i partnerami. While he was here, President Biden spoke to a crowd at Zamek Królewski, where he evoked the words from Polish Pope John Paul II, "Be not afraid." Nie lękaj się. Podczas swojej wizyty prezydent Biden przemawiał do zgromadzonych na Zamku Królewskim, gdzie przywołał słowa papieża Jana Pawła II. Nie lękaj się. These words were meant to exhibit how resilient people can overcome great hardship. They served as an inspiration, and I believe it can be applied to the power of our people, Polish and US people who have been fighting back against Russian aggression by working together. Our bilateral relationship has never been stronger. The US-Polish relationship has never been stronger. And today is another example of our united front.
The deliberate torture and slaughter of civilians in the Ukrainian town of Bucha has shocked public opinion across the world. Today, the United Nations Security Council heard Ukrainian allegations of the murders by Russian soldiers, and President Zelensky warned of similar scenes to come as he addressed the United Nations. The world can now see what the Russian troops did in Bucha, but it needs to see what the Russians did in other towns in my country. The places may be different, but the crimes are the same. The Russians cannot escape responsibility. Polish ambassador to the United Nations, Krzysztof Szczerski, in a statement prepared for Tuesday's Security Council meeting, wrote that the scenes of mass graves and executions from Bucha evoke the memory of Katyn. He added that, as in the case of Katyn, the perpetrators should not be allowed to escape responsibility. NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg said today that further attacks by Russian forces in eastern Ukraine and an attempt to take full control in Donbass are expected in the coming weeks. As he added, images from Ukraine's Bucha show brutality that Europe has not experienced for many decades.
We now see a significant movement of troops away from Kiev to regroup, rearm, and resupply, and they shift their focus to the east.
During a meeting of foreign ministers in Brussels, United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken condemned Russian war crimes in sharp terms.
As this Russian tide is receding from parts of Ukraine, the world is seeing the death and destruction left in its wake. And we're seeing, in particular, the horror that's been left behind at Bucha.
The United States has supported the Ukrainian military since the beginning of the Russian invasion and has documented the crimes committed against civilians.
The president does not believe, he believes it's ludicrous for Russia to be a member of the Human Rights Council. And certainly the ambassador spoke to this today and while she was on her overseas trip, and she will continue to make the case.
Meanwhile, representatives of the Russian government are spreading lying propaganda and claiming that no civilians were harmed in the Bucha explosion near Kiev.
We have factual evidence that proves this point. We intend to present it to Security Council as soon as possible so that the international community is not misled by the false narrative promoted by Kiev and its Western sponsors.
Consider that the statements of these women and family members who've watched their own loved ones being killed by Russian troops are fake?
This is a warfare, and in warfare anything happens, and you cannot exclude that civilians are dying in a war.
However, the international community has no doubt about the Russian crimes in Ukraine and is relentless in its efforts to bring all those responsible to justice.
Much of the same imagery that you have. Obviously, we are in touch with our Ukrainian counterparts. We're certainly in no position to refute that these atrocities occurred, that they occurred on the scale that the Ukrainians have said they've occurred, and that Russians are responsible for that. And I think I'll just leave it at that.
Great Britain is also advocating further sanctions against Russia.
We're all appalled by the scenes in Bucha, the butchery, the clear evidence of sexual crime, of the targeting of innocent civilians, and it's very clear that war crimes have taken place. And we have been working with the ICC, we're putting funding in, we've got the Metropolitan Police investigating those war crimes, so the perpetrators.
Later this week, European Council President Ursula von der Leyen, together with EU diplomatic chief Josep Borrell, will travel to Kiev to meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. On Saturday, Ursula von der Leyen will visit Warsaw, where she will take part in the Stand Up for Ukraine, Together with For Ukraine event. More than 2.5 million Ukrainians have crossed the Polish-Ukrainian border since the Russian invasion. The Ministry of Interior estimates 1.5 million of them remain in Poland. The government and local authorities and also many non-governmental organisations and people of goodwill are involved in helping the refugees. Most people cross the border in Medyka, Korchowa, Dorohusk and Hrebene. Refugees are first of all guided by the good people. They guide them to reception points, advise them on how to legalise their stay in Poland, how to obtain refugee status, what opportunities for jobs there are in Poland. Volunteers from Poland and abroad wait for refugees in Poland. They help organise transport, distribute food, blankets, sleeping bags and hygiene products.
We've got approximately 500 mothers and children with us. We deliver shelter, we deliver food, we deliver hot meals, and we started doing the education for children. So we've got private kindergarten, we've got children started going to primary school.
So far, local administrations have received 400 million zloty to help refugees. Ukrainian citizens have received 700,000 PESEL numbers, allowing them to access health, education, social security and work. Mobile PESEL registration points have been established. 96% of these people are women and children. 50% are children, 44% women under 65, 3% seniors over 65 and 3% men under 65. The Council of Ministers has adopted a draft amendment to the law on aid to citizens of Ukraine. These are provisions in the field of health, labour policy, procedural issues. One of such issues is the matter of temporary admission to practice medicine for doctors of Ukrainian origin who have fled to Poland. Assistance also reaches disabled people. Refugees may apply for grants to purchase prostheses and wheelchairs. The government has allocated 130 million zloty for this purpose. During a meeting of the Agriculture and Rural Affairs Council, President Andrzej Duda indicated that the necessary sanctions policy that had to be introduced against Russia would result in drastic trade restrictions, but on the other hand would make it impossible for Russia to carry out efficient agricultural production. There is no doubt that the upheaval in the food market as a result of events in the East will be very serious. Prices are rising all the time, and the very serious question is how to conduct agricultural policy so that our farmers can survive this difficult period of rising prices. Fortunately, we have a secure situation in Poland. The war is not in our country. We are safe. However, the war is affecting us. Our imports from Ukraine and Russia have not been great. We are self-sufficient in food. Our agriculture meets all the needs of our market. We are an exporter of food, so it is expected that these exports will increase. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.